Hi, I'm Michelle, Director of Educational Content and Programs at Shape America. And if you want to learn more about health and physical education, you are going to love Toy Talk Tuesdays. And I'm not talking about these kinds of toys. I'm talking about Teachers of the Year. Shape America Teachers of the Year represent the best adapted physical education, dance, health, and physical education teachers in the United States, and you get to hear directly from them. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and be sure to comment below with the tips and resources you want to hear about most. If you're interested in learning about how to become a Shape America Teacher of the Year, just make sure to click the link right here below. Thanks so much for watching.
Everyone, and welcome to Toy Talk Tuesday. My name is Maureen Brennan. I'm the Director of Marketing at Goodheart-Willcox Publisher, and I'm delighted to serve as today's host. Toy Talk Tuesday is a bi-weekly series of interviews about topics in health and physical education with Shape America's National and District Teachers of the Year. Today's segment will focus on teaching sensitive topics, such as sex education, during remote learning. I am joined today by Melanie Lynch, and I will give her a brief opportunity to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Melanie Lynch, and I'm the 2016 National Health Education Toy of the Year. And I teach health and physical education at North Allegheny Intermediate High School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'm really glad to be here with you all today to talk about sensitive topics. And I really want to thank Shape America and all of our partners for putting this together. So thank you, Maureen. And let's go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Melanie. As a member of the Shape America Teacher of the Year community, you have a unique platform to share your expertise, talents, and leadership with health and PE teachers across the country. We're so proud of your accomplishments and appreciate you participating today. So now I'll turn it over to Melanie.
Okay, thank you. So obviously none of us thought we were ever going to be teaching like we are teaching right now. And I just want to have a disclaimer that I don't claim to have all of the answers. I just claim that this is what worked for me in the spring when we went full remote. Right now, I'm in a hybrid situation, but I'm going to be speaking as a remote learner. How do you teach sex education in a situation like that? And I kind of broke it down into 6 steps. And some of these steps, they're not necessarily one right after the other one, but this one is the most important. This is the foundation. I would never suggest teaching something that is as sensitive as sex education without building relationships with your students first. And that's why I always teach sex education very last, even when I'm in the classroom, because we need to build trust, build a sense of community, have safety things put in place, letting students know they don't always have to participate. So just having that child feel as safe as they can and knowing that their voice is heard and they are represented. And that does not happen for any of us on the first day, week, or even month of school. And so that's why I put sex ed kind of last. And when I start the school year out, whether I'm remote, hybrid, or full in person, I spend the first 2 weeks, I don't even touch curriculum. It's all about get to know you, because I want them to know that they are more important to me than curriculum. And then we just keep building on that. So that would be the first thing I would suggest you do for step 1. So if we could go to the next slide, please. And so for step 2, so this is a little misleading. It says set some guidelines. I was worried about what are some of the barriers to having effective health education with the student at home. I was really worried about that. I knew I could create curriculum and find resources that would be really beneficial, but I worried about that human element. I worried about younger siblings in the home. So this is the actual email. I went back and found it last night when I was putting this together. And this was just a chunk of the email that I sent to parents about what my concerns were and maybe how we could kind of offset those concerns. So the first one is having younger siblings at home. So could we have the child be in a private place with some headphones, because there's going to be some mature material, and in some cases the students may be several years younger and it's just not age appropriate for them to overhear it. Another thing that I wanted to kind of let parents know is that students may not feel comfortable to ask questions because we were in this new format. We didn't start out like this. So just letting the parents know. So I asked them, I won't be in the classroom to assist. I'm suggesting that you look at the materials so that you could have this opportunity to guide your child with your family's values and expectations. I think that's really important to acknowledge that we're not doing values education when we talk about sex education. We're doing the comprehensive curriculum. And I wanted the parents to encourage them to ask me questions and especially to ask them questions. And then I also kind of made a disclaimer saying, I realize this is not comprehensive enough. I had 1 week because the last couple weeks of school, we got 1 week pulled away from us for teacher training. So where I thought I was going to have 2 weeks for sex ed, I only had 1 week. So just kind of figuring out what your obstacles are and kind of trying to get ahead of them and sending that note to the parents, I think really went a long way. So yeah, and I'll share something a little later that I was so glad I did this because it really covered the situation quite well. So that's step 2. So step 3 is once you kind of figure out what your stumbling blocks are, is you want to use quality resources. I am biased, but I love GW Comprehensive Health Skills Texts. I have an online version, so my students can actually access that online, especially with COVID. That's nice, hands off. And I find that it's just the most latest up-to-date research material. But as far as curriculum, Christopher Pepper out of San Francisco, he does such a great job with this Be Real, Be Ready curriculum. And I've put the link so you can see it in the screen of how do you get those linked lessons. But I do want to caution you with anything with sex ed, you've got to know what your district allows you to use. I know there's some things in this curriculum that we're not really allowed to teach. And so you can't just use materials. You have to really look through them, and you may need to tailor them and alter them for your students' needs and your communities, what is acceptable at your school district. So I think, and there's a lot of other resources out there, but these are my 2 golden nuggets for sex ed. So next slide, please. Now, the next step, this is the fun part. So you've done all of the work, you're thinking about like, what might the problems be? This is the area that I really shine in. Create innovative lessons. I used a lot of the virtual classrooms to do my sex ed. And if you notice on the screen, you can see like there's a little microphone. So for example, in the first picture where you see the reproductive system, there was an app called Vocaroo where I could just record my voice and put it right on that slide. And so if there was some things I wanted to guide them with. And also, if you look at the bottom where it says now showing, I don't really like to show like a movie or a video, whether we're in class, like the whole period. I prefer to do little snippets and have reflections and activities. So I had 4 little video clips that kind of told a story that rolled out a rape case in Steubenville, Ohio. And then, as you can see, the students, I got a lot of feedback that they loved the rooms. They were self-contained. Everything was within the room. So the kids, they knew where their material was and they weren't looking elsewhere. And it was just summing it up. And then the parents could look at this. I'm going to talk about the parents on the next couple steps and how parents could alter this for what they were comfortable with. But like I said, if it's not creative, if it's boring, if it's plain, even if it's good material, the students won't engage in it. So that's where, and this is to me the most fun part, like I said. So that's step 4. So let's go on to step 5, Maureen. This one, oh my gosh, do not, even though you know your administrators may know what kind of job you're doing. I actually went to my administrator and we were in quarantine, but it was a day where we were allowed back in the school to clean out our rooms. And I made an appointment with my administrator and I took all of the materials and I told her, I said, these are my concerns. This is the email I want to send to the parents. And this is all of the material that I'm going to send to the parents. And I explained the why behind everything I was doing because we were talking about some topics. And at one point, I thought maybe I shouldn't touch this. But then the alternative was in my district, they only get health in ninth grade, which means they would leave my class with no formal sex education whatsoever. And I was like, that was why it was so imperative for me to work through these steps and try to get it right so that my students could get the best that I could offer in a situation. Once my administrator looked at everything, she liked that I was also including in the email that parents could, if they didn't feel comfortable with something, they could pull that out. And then that would make everybody happy. And honestly, there was only one parent that pulled one section out. And I told you I'd get to that story. That parent obviously didn't check their email, and I got a how dare you send this kind of material to my email. And I just responded back with forwarding her the email that I'd sent the week before and said, I'd sent this a week home. So that was one of those moment, like I'm glad I did those steps. And remember, your administrators, although they may be supportive of everything you do, you want to make sure they know what's going on. So if a parent calls to complain, right away that administrator can say, I know that she sent the email to you all, and I know she said you can remove anything you're not comfortable with. And then that way that might cut off that whole uncomfortable situation with having to be called to the principal, having a meeting, and then finding out everything was good. So just taking those extra couple steps, and I know we're super busy right now, but when it comes to these topics, get those administrators on your side. But you have to sell the why to them, because if you just walk in there, they may say to you, oh, I don't want to touch that. That's a little too taboo right now, and let's just forget about that. So just think about that. And the last step, and I've already alluded to this, is sending the actual materials home to the parents. And although I got the one how dare you email, I got so many emails from parents saying, thank you. This is, you know, because our child doesn't share what they're learning, and we are curious about the sex ed, and this is really well put together, and thank you. So I got a lot of praise for that. And it's like we're trying to show parents what we're doing in our classrooms. And so I wanted them to see what I was doing in my virtual classroom. And I really wanted them, I felt that this could be the springboard that would allow parents to feel comfortable having those tough conversations with their students or their kids. And so I think that, you know, in the future, when we go back full time, I'm thinking of doing some of these same things just so that parents maybe have the material so they can say, hey, I know you did this in class today, you know, and have a conversation about that. So again, I don't know that there's just one way to do it. This is what worked for me, and that's what I wanted to share with you. And this is how I will do it if we're in hybrid or in remote. But like I said, I won't be doing it until at the end of the semester. So the last thing is, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I tend to post things that what my students are doing and lessons and ideas. We haven't been posting as much just because we've been social distancing, but I think I'm getting way more comfortable having the kids in the room, interacting and moving more. So I think I'll be tweeting a lot more. So Maureen, thank you so much. I hope that's what you were looking for. And anybody can reach out to me if they have any questions. Then the best place to get a hold of me is Twitter.
Thanks, Melanie. These are great tips that will help teachers across the country. On behalf of Shape America and the Shape America Teacher of the Year Partner Network, thank you. Be sure to visit shapeamerica.org to check out our bi-weekly Toy Talk Tuesday segments for more great resources from our Shape America Teacher of the Year community. Follow Shape America, Spark, Wellness Training Specialist, Gopher, and GW to share ideas for future Toy Talk Tuesday topics and themes. And as always, let us know any questions you may have for our Shape America Teachers of the Year. Have an active and healthy day.
Bye, everybody.
Oh